Hi everyone, welcome again on our channel. In today's video, I wanted to briefly talk about the transitions that perhaps will be happening to many people who are coming into the new, that decide to go with the flow of the current energies, are open for the changes, are ready to embrace the next steps of the journey. So specifically, I wanted to talk about those changes period or transitioning period, because obviously once we start changing our lives, we also have to change environments, change relationships, change the way we live on a regular basis, or even change some mental processes that are happening to us. So I know it can be challenging, especially that there are a lot of new things coming to you as emotions, as some thoughts, maybe ideas how this new should be unfolding for you. And it can create a lot of pressures. And of course, those pressures can also reflect into the connection that you're going to be having. So, during this difficult time that I've realized that many of us are coming through, there are a lot of confusions. There are a lot of misunderstandings, even on a personal level. You may find that you don't actually know yourself well enough to see the big picture. Like you may be acting from this space of a fog, as if you kind of feel like you know the direction, and at the same time you're feeling the contradictions, like things clashing with each other. So this can be caused sometimes, really, if we don't know exactly what is in our field, what are our current dreams or goals, or maybe somehow we kind of forgot about them because we were busy with the things that are, we are in the process of just finishing, or maybe there's some chapters that we wanted to finish, but they don't allow us to see those next steps yet. So the first thing I wanted to talk about when you're doing those thoughts and those processes, trying to answer your questions, like what is the next step and what is the proper way for me to proceed, is I think it's one of the most important things is not to forget about yourself, not to forget about those dreams or goals that were driving you in the first place, even before you started your awakening. We all have some dreams and we all have some desires. And even if it may seem a little bit like materialistic, because sometimes, like, obviously, if you're before awakening, you're operating maybe from this more materialistic perspective. But still, you need to remember that those kind of dreams that are coming to us, for whatever reason, they are kind of showing our desires and our satisfactions in life. This is our driver. So I know that for many, many people, they would be expecting everything just to change right away. And, all those dreams, they have to become spiritually oriented and, just towards the common goal and all of that. But honestly, I still feel that if you have some, let's call it unfinished business, like there were things that you wanted to achieve. You wanted to travel somewhere, just for yourself. You wanted to buy something for yourself. um, don't be afraid just to continue pursuing your dreams, because spirituality and the spiritual journey is not always just about expanding in different dimensions and getting the downloads and sharing all this wisdom. Of course, it goes hand by hand, but those expansions can only happen if you have internal balance. So I think, throughout the life, we are collecting those dreams, those tiny wishes, and it's nothing wrong to have even like materialistic goal if you wanted to buy something always, always. And, just right now, you're kind of almost got there. But then suddenly, your spiritual path seems to be unfolding even more. Take a look and just see if you can make this transition smoother so you can really finish those businesses or those things that you were planning. Because of course, like when we are fulfilling our desires, we are making ourselves more fulfilled and creating this sense of achievement. And of course, it brings you this sense of self-worth, self achievement, self power. So of course, like this is used how for you to build up your personality, right? So if anything, I think in those transitions, I would just um, encourage you, don't forget your dreams, and don't judge them. If there was something that you consider right now, let's say, a more spiritual path as purely materialistic desire, just try to see the bigger picture, like why this desire came in the first place. Maybe this desire was, it has some other meaning. Maybe that's for you, this is a symbol of freedom, or maybe you were dreaming about a house. Fulfill this dream. It's can seem materialistic, but this is your own personal desire, but it reflects your internal needs. So I think that's the main thing, not to forget what you promised to yourself in the past. Don't just close the door for everything that old and was happening in your life because you want to rush into the new right away. Because when you do that, when you forget about all of your needs and want to get right into the new, just you may create some disbalance. And especially if you may realize that within the connection there might be a little bit of disbalance into with those dreams, or how do you feel your life to unfold if you went to the new connection that you will start to build life together. um, I think that that can be a little bit challenging because every one of us will be bringing those dreams into the connection. We'll be discussing about those dreams. And maybe just a little bit of personal example, we've realized we've kind of tried to talk about these things because coming from different backgrounds, coming from different countries, different ages, of course those priorities are a little bit different. But it just shows us that it doesn't always have to be the sacrifice that if, let's say, your paths are different, it doesn't mean that one person has to sacrifice everything in order to match towards the scenario that other person was imagining, because there might be moments that those visions are mismatching. So we are kind of exploring this idea that maybe there's always some middle point if you're open to talk about it, if you're talk to have those conversations open and clear, and just of course share what are your concerns. And that showing this interest that you still want to work on that, you at the same time proving yourself that you still value your needs, your desires equally. you know because if you decide, if you would be in the position that you would be giving up everything just because we have to make the decision, we have to be in one place, but at the same time it creates this imbalance because one person has to sacrifice, let's say, everything, while in other case, for other person it seems like a little bit lighter problem, lighter issue, because they don't have to include so many changes in their current situation. Sometimes this can cause some, maybe some, not arguments, I wouldn't call it arguments, but there are some certain clashes, because we all want to be treated like equally, and you can just feel that I'm just giving out too much in this connection, and why is that? Like I don't feel wrong, I don't feel good about it, I feel there's something wrong because I feel I'm giving up too much. And this is especially value for the people who had the tendencies to overgive in their relationships, overgive for the sake of other person, because someone, maybe you just had those tendencies to always support everyone around, so you can even put off your plans just for the sake of a connection. So we were even talking that this is not the proper way. Some people may be saying that, oh, you should be do everything what is possible just to maintain the connections. But from our understanding, it's, if really forgetting about your needs in order just to fulfill this part, this physical part, being in 3D, that's how what people call it. If it causes so much distress and this energetic imbalance, and you will feel this imbalance, that's a moment to step back and really have the sincere conversations about that. Openness is very important here, because you have to really openly say, that you have those fears, like you don't feel freely, um, or you don't feel ready maybe to make this transition right now, or maybe in this specific way. So I think this is a really important, just to have those open conversations and share, and just to make this, how would I call it, this discussion, just to discuss, okay, how we can make it work for both of us, how we can make or fulfill our dreams together, just finish what we started, how we can make sure that none of us is feeling neglected, or someone has to do so much sacrifice in order just to maintain the connection. And within this, like, it can of course trigger a lot of negativity, because it's, you wish everything was smooth, and you maybe are expecting that the other person would be agreeing for anything that has to be done, but I think this is all our personal work. And I think in this case, all I can put as advice is just don't put fingers towards each other. And, you just deal with your own insecurities, with your own problems. But of course, we cannot expect all the people acting our way. Like, this is on, you can always only be responsible for yourself. And if you have some insecurities and some fears, you deal with them. And the rest is just discussion with your partner, and just knowing that he's doing his work or her work on it, on their side. Um, the next point I wanted to mention is, some people have a tendencies to ask around. If they are confused, if they don't know what to do, they would ask other people. They would go to their family or friends and share whatever is in their heart right now, and they would be kind of asking or waiting for advice. And I wouldn't say that's a good idea. Sometimes it's, we all come from different environments, so you may not get a reply from someone who is on the same level as you. They might be biased. They might be acting from the quite a different focus. Mm, so, this can create unnecessary confusions even more. So of course, like, we all need guidance sometimes, but sometimes you also have to remember that the best guide is inside. And in among all those confusions, sometimes just the best way is to sit and meditate on that, or just journal about it. Just really talk to yourself, have this internal dialogue to try to get some answers. One point I wanted to mention here is, like, it can happen that guidance will not be coming. And we're always laughing about it, because sometimes it feels, the more you need it, the more silent the guidance, the energies are not speaking with you. Seems like that's a time for your test. That's a time to show you how you can deal with those harder situations. And are you still, again, the same lesson as a checkup, like, are you dependent on the energies and on constant guidance, or are you self-sufficient, and are you adult? Like, can you make those mature conversations first, and then make mature decisions based on what you observe, what is around you, what is going on in your head, in your heart, as well as in your partner's heart and mind. So that's probably a good reminder to, don't forget that we have our logic, we have our mind, we have our heart, and we have to learn navigate all of this. And the guidance, that's when it comes. It always comes when you can put your mind in peace, and you're allowing just things to flow. You cannot put pressures on that, because that's basically, that's not how it works. And the last point I wanted to talk about, sorry, my camera was dead, so I had to record. So the last point I wanted to talk about is, I think maybe it's the most important, is don't lie to yourself. Stay true to yourself. And don't be afraid to go against, this flow. If it's too fast, just really stop and reconsider. Think about, maybe there are some red flags that are, coming to you, because maybe you overlooked something in your previous relationships. maybe you overgave, maybe you forgot about your needs for the sake of the connection. Those are important things, because really, I believe that if you done your work, you're just going with the flow. Like, you're going smoothly through all those manifestations. But if there was something that along the way on your journey you overlooked, they are just giving you the chance right now to address it, and just, don't drag it to your connection that you are trying to build, trying to develop. So sometimes it's as much as just a lesson or a reminder about the self-love and self-value. you know I cannot stress enough how important it is to maintain balance in all of that, especially in those connections when you have those two people who are working on themselves, and they have this incredible self-value, self-worth that they work through. Don't expect from yourself, to step back from that. Don't put yourself down, and at the same time, don't expect your partner, to step back and just to get to the old ways. you know I think it's very important to support each other in those moments, not to forget about, what is the most important thing. It's self-love and self-value, self-independence. So only from this space you can really build a healthy and very, very strong connection, because you can see you're with the individual who knows their value. They are not afraid to speak for themselves, and they are really following their dreams and their goals. So I think with all that, it of course, like, this is another test for the connection, because sometimes it would be easy just, oh, forget about it. It just, we are so different. We are from different environments. I cannot see the resolution. And if anything, I think, um the most important part is, like, when you don't seek the solution, if you are missing the solution, you have a fog in your brain, you're stuck. That's the moment for both of you just to step back, because probably you are moving either too fast, or your minds, your mental body, your emotional body were not able to put up with this pace that was kind of forced, because we are in the very, very strong energies right now for this transformation. Probably you're following Dio's videos on his Astro channel. If not, check it out, because he's explaining so well, how hard period is it right now for, for people who are in the flow, who are ready to embrace the new. But we have to remember those Aquarius energies. They are very intense, and it takes time, of course, to adjust to this new reality. um, and it's okay, just to relax and sit back for a moment. And if anything, there will be a lot of pressures, but by overcoming those pressures with your partner, you're showing yourself this readiness to have open communication, to talk about these uncomfortable things. Because, we realize anytime we go through these uncomfortable talks, of course, it's not easy. It will be easy to just to have our peace, smooth flow, and the universe just cooperates. But sometimes there are just lessons that we missed, um, from the past, and we are okay. We are embracing it. We are not judging it. We are giving ourselves time, and I think, like, this meaning of space that your partner gives you, to really, for you to process your stuff, and at the same time you're giving time and support to your partner, because you both understand each other and try to make it work. And having this external storms, at the same time having this very strong connection and bond that it's created through mutual talks and understanding. This is something I think, like, if anything, that's the purpose of those hard moments and those transitions to the new. How both of you can find themselves in those, challenges and those flows of energy. Sometimes things will be fast. Sometimes things will be uncomfortable. How are you navigating it? And are you able to work together on overcoming and reaching the next step? So this video was a bit longer than I used to record, but I felt like there were some important things to talk about, and hopefully it will help you with those transitions into the new. And really will help you to remember who you are and remember what are you bringing into the relationship. And if anything, never step back. If you've done your work, if you've achieved this sense of self-worth and individuality, bring it further. Never step back from it. Don't feel it's bad to fight for what you dream about. um, Sometimes it's just okay to be stubborn in those cases, because that's your soul needs, that's what your life path is. And for whatever reason, sometimes those materialistic goals, they may seem irrational. I cannot even start going there, but for whatever reason, it feels like this is your life path and you've came here to accomplish something, finish something, maybe break something in the cycle. And instead of trying to escape from all of that and rush into the new, just give yourself the time for the smooth transition. And really, that's the moment when the universe will come and they will make it smooth. Once you're really surrendered to this space and you see you're gentle with yourself. So hopefully it helped you. If you have any other questions regarding this video or any topic you would like me to discuss, write it below. And good luck in this very interesting times we have right now. See you next time.